What's up, everybody? It's HBT with Straight Up Wrestling Show, guys. Here with you tonight, man. Just to, hey, talk a little bit about wrestling. What's going on in wrestling today, man? Hey, in my opinion, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. In my opinion, today wrestling is just kind of crazy, man. I just look at wrestling today, and look at what's going on, and I'm gonna be straight up. Wrestling has no juice. It definitely has no juice, man. And when I say that, what I'm talking about is the realness. Like if you go into a grocery store or whatever, you go somewhere in, a convenience store or whatever, and you see some juices. Sometimes they be from concentrate, and then you see some of them that have 100% real juice in it. So basically, that's what I'm trying to say, man. That's what I'm telling you right now. In my opinion, today's wrestling has no juice, man. It's not saying that it's not any authentic wrestlers out there. It really is. A lot of guys out here, man, trying to do their best, trying to make wrestling what it used to be back in the day. They're trying to bring back the glory days. A lot of these guys, man, want to be, they want to be stars. They want to be respected. They want to be something that they saw when they was growing up. They want wrestling to be on that level. But right now, I don't think we have the people in charge that can take it to that level. So, man, it's most of it when it boils down to it, the main ingredient is creativity. Look like we don't have people that know how to, that know how to create that magic, know how to write those type of stories and things like that to get people intrigued, to get people excited about wrestling, to stay with wrestling. What we have now is it seems like, well, I'm not going to say it seems like, I know it is, that we are just having a bunch of stuff that's just thrown together, man. And it is what it is. Straight up, I hate to say that. I really do. But when it boils down to it, and I'm not talking about one organization. I'm talking about each and every one of them, all the way from the WWE, all the way down to the indies, guys. This thing is being thrown together. And, ratings don't lie. The ratings don't lie. All you have to do is look at the ratings. Look at the latest ratings as far as in the WWE and AEW, and it tells the story of what's going on in wrestling. It really does. Nothing is building, nothing is getting better. Everything is going worse, and you can't blame it. Don't blame it on the NFL. Don't blame it on basketball, college basketball, pro basketball. Don't blame it on, the World Series or whatever. Hey, look at yourself. Look at yourself. What's up, Christine Salsa Girl? Hey, HBT. That's way too much unnecessary violence. I hear you. I definitely hear you. Yeah. So, when it boils down to it, wrestling, they have to look within themselves, man, and say, hey, what are we doing wrong? And do we have the people that's actually doing that? Is Triple H actually looking at what he's doing, or do Triple H have too much on his plate? That may be the case, man. When it boils down to it, he may have too much on his plate. Now, Tony Khan, it seemed like he's bound, bent, and determined to run it the way he wants to run it. I mean, for the last 2 years, AEW has had horrible ratings. Not saying that every show has been bad. I mean, no, not every show has been bad, and he continues to put on very good pay-per-views. A lot of great matches in these pay-per-views. I will say that. But when it boils down to it, you cannot remember the matches, months and months down the road. You may remember the match occurred or whatever, but it's not something that you want to actually go back to watch or whatever. There was no storyline that built up to it, or if it was a storyline, it was a very vague storyline. It wasn't nothing that had a lot of meat to it, or a lot of juice to it. It didn't have that real juice to it, to where it was a storyline that you want to go back and revisit. And hey, back in the day, man, the storylines was so strong that you had to go back to it. You had to go back to it, and it's something that you definitely can remember. I can remember things, man, from back when I was growing up in the 70s. I can remember them just as vivid as I can today. That's why I love wrestling, because I remember those storylines that happened back in the 70s and 80s, and they translated all the way till today. Hey, I stopped watching wrestling back in what 2001, just pretty much cut it off. Started back what 3.5 years ago, almost 4 years ago, when we started this podcast, and basically been doing this podcast. And over this time, man, I haven't seen a lot of things that I can say, hey, that right there is a great moment in wrestling. That right there, hey, it intrigues, it intrigues me. It makes me want to be a wrestling fan. It makes what we're watching special. It rates up there with me talking about my favorite football team and the memories of great Super Bowls, or it rates in the memories of great NBA championships or World Series that I could talk about great moments in wrestling. I used to could talk about back then those great moments in wrestling with a Super Bowl or a NBA championship or a World Series or whatever, or something that I was really into, or a great moment in the Olympics. I could pretty much take a great moment that happened in wrestling and put it right beside those, and basically get the same and have the same reaction from people that I knew, or it warmed my heart, to be a fan of wrestling just as much as it did, being a fan of football. When my favorite football team won the world's, the Super Bowl, or one of my favorite football teams won a Super Bowl, or one of my college football teams won, won a national championship. So, or the college basketball, I love college basketball. When one of my teams won a national championship, I could put a wrestling moment that I really loved, or a big time wrestling moment, right beside that. I can't do that no more, man. Right now, we cannot do that. Wrestling is nowhere on the level, and you have nothing. You have nothing that's being generated. Nothing that's being generated that's going to make a this big time moment that everybody's going to get into and say, hey, man, that was incredible. And I can go ahead and tell you, hey, over the 3.5 years, a little bit over, almost 3.5 years, basically 3.5 years that the Straight Up Wrestling Show been running, I can basically tell you, can tell you, man, that, hey, there's only been a couple things. There's only been a couple things that's been great since we've been doing this. Straight up, man. As far as in the WWE, and I'm gonna talk about the bloodline. I'm talking about the bloodline. That storyline was great, but I'm talking about the bloodline, the initial bloodline with Roman, Jay, and Jimmy, and when he added Sami Zayn. That was hilarious. It was great. It was outstanding what they did. Okay, so I'm gonna give you two more. So it's a few different things. All right, the next best thing I will say is Cody Rhodes' run to the championship. Cody Rhodes' run, him not having that title for a year, and he building himself back up. Hey, winning, just doing great things. He beat Brock Lesnar. Man, that was something that was monumental. That right there was something that you could look at and say, hey, man, that was a great moment. Hey, that was something you could look at that like a Ricky Steamboat finally beating Ric Flair for the World Heavyweight Championship. That's the kind of significance that had, but that Cody Rhodes run to the championship, man, was outstanding. And he finally got it. And you had Rock come in, who came back for a while, and you had Roman, those two pretty much teaming up against, going up against Cody. So that was a great moment in wrestling, but they've been very far and few between. Let's see, what else can you really say that was great? The Judgment Day thing was looking like it had something really good when they, that R-Truth, when R-Truth was trying to get into the group, saying he was part of the group or whatever. That was great TV, man. That was outstanding what they was doing. But besides those three instances, man, I cannot remember many things in the 3.5 years that the Straight Up Wrestling Show has been running that I can say was great moments in professional wrestling. And and go out there and tell people confidently, hey, this is something that you should be watching. Hey, when we got back into this, man, Chris, we was out here on the indie scene, going to a lot of these indie shows, saw a lot of indie shows that was great wrestling on indie shows and everything. AEW was popping, man. 3.5, 4 years ago, AEW was popping. So I turned a lot of people onto AEW. So a lot of people was going to AEW. A lot of my friends was going to AEW and say, hey, that remind me of WCW. Remind me of WCW. Within 4 to 6 months, man, they was gone. They was through. And said they was embarrassed to watch it. flat out embarrassed to watch it. And to tell you the truth, I was too. Because you know what? And I told him going in the problems that AEW had. I said that from the get-go. And anybody that want to doubt what I said, all they got to do is go all the way back to our first videos when we first started. I was talking about AEW back then when my partner's Christopher Burton and we had another guy who was part of the podcast, a guy named Michael King. They was all on AEW. They loved it. They thought it was outstanding, thought it was the greatest thing, and that it was coming up on WWE and it was competition and everything. I'm like, hey man, look, they're pretty good, but they got problems. They got a few problems. If they don't iron it out now, it's gonna rear its ugly head. So they need to get it straightened out. But they're doing pretty good. And man, what I saw was great wrestling. I saw a lot of good wrestling, and I saw a lot of good spots in their wrestling matches. But I saw nothing that was authentic, man. And so when I'm talking about authentic, there was no storylines leading to what was going on there. Because when I first started watching it, I saw like first 2 pay-per-views. I'm like, wow, these are outstanding. But man, hey, those matches was great, but the storylines that led up to them, the couple storylines that they did have, was very weak. Like Chris Jericho. I think the first one, I think it was MJF and Chris Jericho. The Walls of Jericho or whatever it was. That MJF had. Was it Jericho? Jericho had to do certain things, or was it MJF had to do certain things? I think it was what's the name? I think it was Jericho had to do certain things. Man, had to have like 7 or 9 different things to face MJF. It was weird or whatever, but it was nothing that was worth remembering. And then you had the let's see, 2 great things that happened in AEW, which they killed. They definitely killed the characters. They definitely they missed the boat on them. And like I say, one of the things, let's see, was that Warlow. I never liked him, never thought he was really talented or anything like that. But I know business. I know business, and I know who's good for business. The man would have been great for wrestling, straight up. They had something very good. They didn't capitalize on it, man. They had everybody going Warlow. Everybody was all into this thing with him and MJF. But I knew that they was in trouble with this thing once the first time I saw this guy out there beating up all the security guards. When he was beating up all the security guards, I'm like, that is weak. That's weak right there. That's not going to last. That's not going to intrigue the fans. You can't have him doing that. He beating up all the security guards, and then he started every single match he got into. This guy was going, what was it? Super bomb crazy. He was just power bombing. Yeah, power bomb crazy. Just power bombing everybody. Boom, boom, boom. Doing it, hitting about 7 to 9 power bombs every single match. Did that for the first 3 weeks. I'm like, you got to stop this. You got to stop this. But no, Tony Khan kept it going. Kept it going. Man, and it just kept that going and kept on beating up security guards. Like, that's not going to work. Fans got bored with it. They kept rolling with it. Killed his character. All right, let's see. Christine Saucy Girl, Judgment Day went stupid. Yes, it did. Man, another great thing that they was doing, and I know my partner, Christopher Burton, he cannot stand this guy, man. He can't stand him. Hook, the one thing, I didn't care about Hook when he first came out. I really, didn't care about him at all. Only thing I liked about Hook, I liked the song that he came out to. I thought he was a skinny kid and everything like that. But I saw what Hook did. I saw how Hook was grabbing a certain demographic that's not watching professional wrestling. These young ladies out here thought this guy was cute, thought he was great, they thought he was outstanding, and they was gravitating towards watching him. Whether it was on social media or a few of them, just watching it on TV, but they was watching him, checking him out, seeing what he was doing. And that thing was great. It was outstanding, and they should have kept it going. You did not have to have him, you didn't have to have him in there against big name talent, and that's where they messed up. When this guy started going in there, and he's beating up, who's that? He's beating up QT Marshall. He's beating up Chris Jericho. He's beating up let's see, who is he? He's pretty much beating up Samoa Joe, or pretty much giving Samoa Joe even fight. That no. And then you know what? I guess these veterans decided they're gonna push back. They're gonna push back and make this guy fight them for real, you know, or whatever. He's gonna have to prove himself. And as soon as that happened, then man, Hook or whatever, he ended up being what he is. You know, this guy, man, you keep him on a lower level, but he's a superstar, and you build him up over 2 to 3 years. Man, this started happening a couple years ago. Right now, you could be building him up into that major superstar status. You could have sent him. Tony could have sent him to Japan. He could have sent him he could have sent him to the best indies. He could have did so many things with this young man to make this young man a superstar and bring him back and pretty much utilize each and everything that this kid has learned out here on the road. But Tony didn't do that. Tony pretty much started putting him in there against, hey, these bigger guys and everything. Hey, killed his character. But, hey, like I said, look, man, all I got to say is this. You got to look at the ratings today. The ratings of SmackDown and the ratings of Raw have dropped to 1.4 million. 1.4 million. When we first started this thing, me and Chris first started this thing, hey, Raw was at 1.8 million. 3.5 years ago, they was at 1.8 million. Let's see. SmackDown was doing anywhere from 2.4 million and, anywhere from 2.4 to 2.6 million. When we first started this thing, 1.8 million for Raw. Sometimes we got 1.9 million over there on USA. Like I said, 2.4 million was the average, 2.6. And then I think a year and a half, 2 years later, SmackDown was doing anywhere from 2.1 to 2.3. Right here within the last year, before they moved, they was doing 2.1 to 2.2 or 2.3. Sometimes they were doing when they had Rock who came in, and sometimes Roman would show up. They were doing 2.6. They even got up to like 2.7 million. They was doing very well, and they went ahead and went over to USA. One thing that they shouldn't have done is try to force Fox to pay them more money than they was worth. Should have stayed on Fox. They was going to get the same amount of money. Fox wasn't going to budge. They wasn't going to give them no more money. And I can understand that. I definitely can understand that because they wasn't building over there. They were staying steady. They had stayed steady for such a long time. And they was coming in and trying to bully them and trying to get more money. But, they moved on over to USA and we see what happened. But, just how many people should they have lost over on USA? Now I can see them going from a 2.4 to 1.9. I can see that. Or, that 2.6 sometime down to 2.1, but they should be at least doing 2 million over on Friday nights on SmackDown, or, over on USA. They can do that. And that's why USA wanted them. Because, they wanted that big audience they thought they was going to get. But the thing is, hey, the wrestling fan, the fandom today, they're not going to go for it, man. They're not going to go for stale storylines, and they're not going to go for storylines that roll on for 2 weeks. They're not going to do that. Because look, what we have right now in the WWE is storylines going on for 2 weeks because they're having like two of these PLEs a month, man. So when it boils down to it, they don't give no storylines time to mature. These storylines are just something short, sweet, and man, they're out of it. And the reason that they're doing this bloodline storyline, even though the bloodline that Solo Sikoa is heading, that bloodline is it is so weak, so watered down. It ain't even funny. It's not even funny. It should not even be. Those guys shouldn't even be in the same ring with Roman Reigns' crew. They should not be in the same ring. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. And then you got to look at the people that Triple H. You got to look at the people that Triple H is trying to push onto the conscience of the wrestling fans, man. He is trying to give us something that we basically don't want. Let's be straight up. Let's be honest, man. Hey, Bronson Reed, you can push this guy. He's been trying to push him to the moon for what? The last 4 to 6 months, probably even longer than that. I say really done put a lot into it within the last 3 months. He don't really put a lot into it. But hey, he was trying to push him on him, push this dude on us way before then. Way before then. It's not working. This guy do not pop the fans. The fans don't go crazy when they see him. Don't matter how many times that he tsunami people, how many times he hit that splash on people. People are not behind that. People don't care. They just don't care. But you know what? He's going to give it to us. But, hey, that's no surprise. Because, hey, who was he trying to push before? He was pushing DIY on us, man. He was pushing, hey, I like Tommaso Ciampa. Johnny Gargano's not bad either. But you're not going to get out here and tell me that's the best that you could give us as a tag team and put world titles on a team like that. You pushing Candice LeRae, his wife. Why was you pushing her so hard? You finally stopped that. You gave us Liv Morgan. Man, look, I love Liv Morgan. I think she's a beautiful girl. I really do. She's a beautiful girl. Well, I don't have to say I really do. Anybody can see that. Anybody got eyes. She's a very pretty girl, very pretty woman. But man, let's be straight up. Let's be honest. Is she the best female wrestler that you have in this business? I mean, in the WWE, you have a lot of great female talent. And when it boils down to it, she is not top tier. Now, she's good. She's pretty good. She has gotten better. Big time improvement from the last time she held the women's world championship. But she is not world championship material where she's the number one female. And I know you have people hurt. I know you have Rhea Ripley hurt. Hey, Charlotte is not, she's not there right now. Becky Lynch is not there right now. But man, you put that title on her when you have, when you have a lot better talent that can have that title. I mean, I don't understand it. I don't understand it. And you continue to give us, you give us a storyline and you give us a group like, and you make them seem like they're invincible, like the Wyatt Six. Now, last night, AOP, they just dominated them. Karrion Kross group dominated them. So, I look at something like that and I'm like, hey, wow, I really, me personally, I don't really care for Wyatt Six. I really don't. It's just something I'm just like, to carry on Bray Wyatt's legacy, I'm with that. I'm with that 100%. And I like Bo Dallas because he is the son of one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, Mike Rotundo. Hey, I love Mike Rotundo, even though he's born to certain people. But, the Wyatt Six, man, like I said, I just didn't understand that. I didn't know how to feel about it. I'm not the only one. I was listening to BC Amplify's podcast today, man. He's right on the money. He was the same way. I don't know how to feel about that. Really, truly. I mean, I know I know it's making AOP look good, making them look strong or whatever. But the Wyatt Six, you turn those lights off, the Wyatt Six comes out and does what it, do what they do. And pretty much drop people, man. Take them out. Now, if you want to have AOP pretty much just go in there and dominate these guys, have AOP come up with a different strategy. Have them come up with a strategy to take those guys out. Because you having those guys getting beat on their own turf. You had the lights go off, and then you had them come on, and then you had those guys get beat up. You got to give us something, man, that makes sense of why these guys are getting dominated or getting taken out. You got to give us something, you got to give us something, man, to explain that. And then last night, hey, one of the guys that's your future, one of the future stars, one of the future carriers, guy who can carry wrestling over to the, carry wrestling for the next 10, 15 years. Gunther. Man, you made this guy look like a fool, man. You made this guy look like a flipping chump. It's like, it reminds me of this old movie where, Tupac, this movie that Tupac played in, Above the Rim, where, where he was going out and telling his teammates to punk these guys or punk guys that he was playing basketball against or whatever. I remember his brother was a great basketball player. He was trying to tell these guys to punk his brother, by them, having dirty tactics on the basketball court. But basically that's what Triple H has been doing. He's trying to punk out Gunther. You know, within the last 2 months, how many times have Gunther lost since he lost that Intercontinental Championship? The guy was unbeatable as the Intercontinental Champion. Unbeatable. But in the last couple months, this guy done lost to a few different opponents. As far as I know. Now, if I'm wrong, somebody let me know. But he done lost to a few different opponents. Not looking good. And Gunther, man, he's looking all scared and everything, doubting himself and all that. In wrestling, man, a guy has to come from a place of strength. He really does. Now, you know, I can go and I can talk about boxing. I can talk about fighting because, hey, that's one thing that I did. And I can tell you, a fighter will lose confidence. Once they lose, a real fighter loses confidence sometimes. And then they have to get that confidence back. Now, in wrestling, you know, hey, the strong survive and the strong is always on top. You know, from what I saw when I was growing up. Now, you might have somebody have a setback, but that wrestler that usually had a setback that had that aura of invincibility very rarely lost that. Very rarely lost that, man. Unless it was a promoter or a booker who took it away from him. You don't have wrestlers take that away from Gunther. Gunther didn't even know what to say. Now, Gunther might get in that match with Damian Priest at the next PLE and dominate him, may smash him or whatever. But you have taken what made Gunther special. You have taken that away from him. The fans don't react to him the same way. When that music came on, man, you know, the fans right there, you know, at first they were like, yeah, then, you know, they just up and stopped before he even got in the ring. So I'm like, wow, you know, is this what we're doing? Really, truly? Triple H, is this what we're doing? And the thing with Cody Rhodes is great. He's outstanding. But Cody Rhodes needs better booking too. You want to make Cody Rhodes legendary? I have no problem with that. Love Cody Rhodes. I'm all for Cody Rhodes. But, you know, I know a lot of wrestling fans out here are not for Cody Rhodes, but I love Cody Rhodes. But Cody Rhodes, man, if you want to make him special, then you got to give him a special run, man. You got to give him a special run. And the WWE, out of all wrestling today, they have the opponents to give him a legendary run. They do. They do. But, man, you got to pick the right people. And you got to pick the right people, and you got to pick the right times. All you have to do with a world champion. What made Ric Flair great? Ric Flair just went through the top 10 to 20. He went against the top 10, and when he wiped all them out, he started going against the next 10 to the 20. And then he went back up. And then when he ran out all those guys, he started going up against Ricky Morton. He started going up against tag team greats. Ricky Morton, Hulk of the Road Warriors. He started defending his title against the greats that was in tag teams. He went after them. After he done dispersed of, you know, after he already done dispersed of the Magnum TAs, the Dusty Rhodes, the Nikita Koloffs, the Barry Windhams, let's see, Ronnie Garvin, who else, man, Ric Flair, Harley Race, all those people, man, that was after his title back in the day, that he just pretty much just took out. He took all those guys out, and then after he pretty much did that, Chief Wild McDaniel, you know, after he took care of all those guys, Ricky Steamboat, after he took care of all those guys, hey, he set his sights on Ricky Morton of the Rock and Roll Express, who was outside of Ric Flair in the NWA, arguably was the most popular wrestler in the NWA outside of Ric Flair and Dusty Rhodes. You have to say Ricky Morton was the next best thing. And then Hulk of the Road Warriors. Those guys were so popular. Very big, huge. Ric Flair set his sights on them and had singles matches against them. Doing the Great American Bash. Outstanding. Outstanding. You know, I mean, and then, like I say, after he got finished with that, he got into a feud with Lex Luger, Sting, and all those guys when they wasn't part of the Four Horsemen. Man, you want to make Cody Rhodes great, then Cody Rhodes should have been, wow, he just had a smorgasbord over there when he first got that title of championship contenders that you could have put him against and made him great, man. As soon as he won it, he should be defended. And he should have defended against Brock Lesnar. Defended against freaking Rollins, defended against Sheamus. But I'm talking about make storylines. You had him in there against Shinsuke Nakamura. That was pretty good. But like I say, you had him wipe Shinsuke out. But that thing should have went on for a few, a few different matches. You had Shinsuke against him. So that was one of the 4 guys. And there was so many more, man. So many more that you could have put up against Cody Rhodes. I'm just giving you a little bit of the great competition that you have in the WWE that could have challenged him for that title. And right now I'm a little tired, so I can't think of it, man. But you had a great top 10 that could basically go up against Cody and made him something special. He's had it long enough to where he's already could have been on this incredible run, guys, where people be like, God almighty, this guy's outstanding wrestler. And all you got to do is start at your number 10, the guy who's the number 10 rated guy, and go from there. You can have the first 3, the first 3, 4 guys within the first 7 to 8 weeks of his run. He could have went through 10 through 7 on the ranking scale and had something great. Got something outstanding. And all these other people could have been waiting in the rain, waiting in the wings. The number 1 contender, the number 2, the number 3 contender. Hey, I'm waiting for my shot for that World Heavyweight Championship. And then if you do it right, you wouldn't have to have 2 world championships. But that's okay, too, because you got such a big roster. It really is. But you need to separate them completely. You really do. Whew, man. Goodness sake. All right. Christine says, let's see. Give me a second, Christine. Give me a second, Christine. A second, Christine. Does it seem like they are putting focus on irrelevant wrestlers instead of the top guys? Yes, that's what they're doing now. That's exactly what Triple H is doing. Bronson Reed, he's irrelevant. He is. But there's a big spotlight on the Bronson Reed. Man, you got people like Braun Breaker who could be a huge superstar, and Sheamus. Sheamus is a superstar too. But you're making Sheamus irrelevant. You're making him irrelevant because look, he's putting those matches on speed. Braun Breaker been defending his title, the Intercontinental Championship, on speed. That title was very important when Gunther had it. Gunther made it like it was Pedro Morales had that title. You had to go back in the day, like when Honky Tonk Man had that title, when the title meant something. When Rick Rude had it, when Randy Savage had it. That's how much that title meant when Gunther had it. He had it at the status that they had it at. Sami Zayn got it. I hated that Sami won it. I hated it because I knew what they was going to do. As soon as Sami won it, boom, it went down a level. Then they put it on Braun. It went down a level. They put it on Jimmy. Basically stayed the same. And Braun, they switched back and forth with the belt. Now Braun over there, he's defending it on speed. Now he will be defending it, I think, this Friday on SmackDown, or is it next Monday on Raw? But still, man, you pretty much have taken this guy and made him almost irrelevant. Like he's nothing no more. Because how did they present him? He's way more talented than somebody that just goes out and spears people. And that's all he was doing when he first came into, pretty much when he pulled him up. He was just out there spearing people. That guy's super talented. Unbelievable. Really is, Christine. Unbelievable. But yeah, they are putting so much emphasis on these wrestlers that mean nothing. They don't mean anything out here. So, wow. But yeah, over in AEW, man, what can I say about AEW? What can I say about them? It does not matter who you sign or whatever. Every time they sign somebody, that wrestler within 6 weeks to 8 to 2 months, that wrestler don't mean anything no more. Nothing. Tony Khan, when he gave a whole bunch of money to Mercedes Moné, and look, I'm not blaming the wrestlers, and I know a lot of people do. And he gave all that money to her, and now she's basically nothing. Now she's the world champion, the women's world champion over there. But the AEW fans, they can't stand her. They can't stand her. But hey, this is a monster that you built because you guys thought it was the greatest thing in the world that you was bringing in. But I'm sorry, Edge is a bigger name than Sasha Banks. He was a bigger name than Sasha Banks. And you see what happened with Edge. Didn't go nowhere. Didn't move the needle at all. Aleister Black, Malachi Black didn't move the needle at all. Only person that moved the needle was CM Punk. He moved the needle. CM Punk came back. He moved the needle over there. But the thing about CM Punk, he can't stay healthy. Can't stay healthy. And when it boils down to it, he was toxic, So he really was. He's toxic in the locker room and everything. But he's the only thing that moved the needle over there. So, man, and CM Punk is now a member of WWE. The man can't stay healthy. So they paying him $8.3 million a year. Can't use it. It's flat out crazy, guys. It really is. But man, I don't know. And one thing that I can't stand about wrestling today, no tag teams. I mean, there's tag team wrestling, but does it mean anything? Don't mean anything. And I said this ever since they stopped focusing on tag team wrestling years ago. That wrestling is going to die without it. If you don't have tag team wrestling, you have nothing. And if you have 6-man tag team matches, 8-man tag team matches, 10-man tag team matches, or whatever, if you want to continue to put guys in the ring like that and women in the ring like that, then you're missing the point. Wrestling would never get back to what it was without tag team wrestling. Because look, man, hey, Jim Crockett Promotions, he ran his whole promotion on tag team wrestling at one time. And it was very successful. Who else did that? I think Mid-South did that at one time. The whole promotion, it was tag team wrestling. Man, tag team wrestling is very important. Because what do you usually see? That a guy usually, he might not have 2-3 friends, but he always usually have one good friend. And they hang out with each other. They're closer than brothers a lot of times. That's the reason why tag teams were so appealing to the general population, man, to the fans that was coming in. Because you see these two guys, man, they hanging with each other, especially when they're fan favorites. They're hanging with each other, and they're good people. They're good people. They're willing to, shake hands, love people, and you think of those people. You want to think of that tag team, or you want to think of those guys, man, are just great guys out in the community that's willing to help people and that treat people the way people should be treated. And they become heroes. But you know what? Nobody's establishing those teams. None of these teams. Okay, of course you have teams. You in the WWE, you got your Street Profits, you got your New Day, you have who else long term? You got DIY. You have these tag teams, but nobody have established anything to where say, hey, this is the dominant tag team, and they're going to be the tag team that's going to be holding off these titles, going to be fighting off people. And people have to battle and try their best to win these tag team titles from them. You didn't make these tag team titles important. These tag team titles don't mean nothing. They mean nothing. Kind of like that Women's World Championship. Almost the Women's World Tag Team titles or the Women's World Heavyweight Championship don't mean anything. Only championship in the WWE that matters is the one that Cody wears. And Gunther has another version of the World Heavyweight Championship. But when it boils down to it, it's the only one that really matters over in the WWE. It's Cody Rhodes. They're not pushing any other championship. They're not. And then in AEW, they got a bunch of championships. I don't even know who's the world champ over there right now. I think it's Jon Moxley again. I'm pretty sure. In Jon Moxley, you have Orange Cassidy supposed to be pretty much pushing to get a shot at Jon Moxley, and everybody talking about Orange Cassidy winning that title. Man, if he does, wow, that's all I have to say. And look, no disrespect to Orange Cassidy, because Orange Juice Cassidy has put in a lot of work, guys. This guy, he works hard. He wrestles hard. I mean, he's kept himself in the spotlight, so I will give him that. But man, to put a title like that on him, would just flat out be crazy. You know, they've had some great things going on over there. Now, I do like Adam Page's gimmick right now. I do like that. I kind of dig that, man. Straight up, Adam Page. I think that crazy Adam Page fits him really well, and it fits his his persona, not just his persona. It fits his wrestling style, guys. It's something very strong. But man, if it's not structured, which is not, which I don't see anything right now in wrestling that's structured. If it was structured, then you could do something very major with that, and hey, take that to the next level. But man, they got to get things straightened out 100%. You just now brought in Bobby Lashley, the Hurt Business. You just brought that thing in, and the way it started off, I didn't like the way it started off. As far as going into that ring, and right off the bat, you had Bobby Lashley go up and confront pretty much Swerve Strickland, and it was just a beatdown from the jump. It was just a beatdown. Look at him, Swerve Strickland, got turned his head, turned back around, boom, Bobby Lashley just beating the living daylights out of him. But the thing is this, Bobby Lashley, these guys come out in these suits and all that, supposed to be class. It's a class organization, and even the mob will give you a warning. That's the way they're coming out. Like, hey, we're running things like the mob, but come out. And Bobby Lashley should have went straight to Swerve Strickland and said, "Are you sure that you don't want to take that offer that MVP gave you? Now I'm gonna give you another chance. We're gonna give you another chance to take this offer." That's the way it should have went down before they beat him down. But no, went straight to the fight. So it lessened the impact. Even though they fought or whatever, it lessened the impact of, what it should have been. Man, that should have been a great moment. Should have been a great moment that everybody's going to talk about. Is that, hey, MVP basically came in and gave Swerve Strickland, MVP, and Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley came in and gave him an offer that he couldn't refuse. That's what that should have been. And like I said, guys, look, I am really tired, so I'm really not on my game as much as I want to be. But yeah, I just wanted to come in tonight and pretty much do a little podcasting, man. I'm gonna try to do this every night. I'm gonna try to start doing this and sometime in the daytime, so we can get some more traction out here, man. Doing a few more things with the Straight Up Wrestling Show, because hey, we don't get to do all the shows that we want to do them like we did before, hey. So definitely want to come back out here and maybe get Christopher Burton on here doing a little bit of talking too with me, man, as far as some of these things that I want to talk about. And I'm gonna go back in the day and talk about things that was happening back in the day. But man, wow, yeah, wrestling has a long way to go, man. Right now, it just, like I say, it has no juice. It lacks juice. It lacks substance. It just don't have it. You just don't have it. Just like, hey, when I'm eating meatloaf, somebody tell me they have meatloaf or whatever, they offering me meatloaf. And I went to a restaurant last week and I expected it's, a great soul food restaurant, country cooking, great food. They had meatloaf, man. I expected to have meat. I expected to have meatloaf. Meat. Wasn't no meat in that thing, man. It was basically vegetables, breadcrumbs or whatever. Didn't have a lot of meat in it. And I understand with today's inflation, everybody's cutting back. But that thing didn't have no meat in it, man. I wanted meat. So I had to tell my wife, I'm going to go ahead and make my own meatloaf. I need to make a meatloaf. We need to make some meatloaf. That thing did not have the meat, It didn't have the meat. And hey, that's what we need. We're looking for the meat. We're looking for the juice. I'm not going to go out there and buy a juice cocktail, buy cranberry juice. Hey, go out and buy some great cranberry juice, which my wife loves, my son loves. Buy great cranberry juice is a great cranberry cocktail. 30% juice in it or whatever, or sometimes even have less, 10% juice in it. I want that 100% juice in wrestling. I want the basics. I want, hey, look, wrestling right now, it's a game of, right now, the game that they're playing is spot. It's a spot fest thing. Hey, let's get a spot. How can I excite the crowd? That's what these wrestlers are doing. How can I excite the crowd? Well, the crowd is not getting into this, So hey, let me go and let me dive through the ropes at these guys. Let me go and let me run. Let me run to the ropes and look and see how the crowd is reacting. Run over and dive through the ropes, and then there's other guys on the other side of the ropes, and they're gonna catch me. If that don't get a big enough pop, I'm gonna run back in if I get a chance and do it again. Do it 2 or 3 times. If that don't work, then I'm gonna do something crazy. I'm gonna do something very crazy, like I'm gonna go up under the ring, and I'm gonna pull out a table which has been used I don't know how many times over the last 20 years. I'm gonna pull out a table and I'm gonna slam the guy through the table. Oh, I'm gonna jump through the table while he's laying on the table. Just see if I can get some kind of reaction. Back in the day, man, when I was growing up, and somebody got attacked. Hey, Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson. Hey, Asheville this week, Asheville, this coming Friday in Asheville, Ricky and Robert, they got to defend against Tully Blanchard and Arn Anderson. So they talking about it throughout the day, throughout that Saturday morning or whatever. It's all on TV. Everything's going down. Ricky and Robert, they coming out to the ring, maybe to take on, let's say, George Soft and the Italian Stallion. Let's say they coming out there to take on these guys. And George Soft, the Italian Stallion, in there waiting for their opponents, the Rock and Roll Express. Next thing you know, Tully Blanchard and Arn Anderson, they're hiding in the crowd. These guys attack Ricky Morton. Boom. They break his wrist, man. They fractured his wrist. Everybody flipping out, man. We go to school the next day. Everybody's talking about it. Everybody's talking about it. Oh, man, he got attacked. They ain't going to be able to defend their titles this Friday or whatever. The thing with Ric Flair, the Four Horsemen, when they jumped Sting. Sting was a part of the Four Horsemen. Man, that everybody at work the next day, I was working at the time. I was a young man. Hey, everybody in my job, everybody was talking about it. Even people that you didn't think watch wrestling, everybody talked about what happened on that Clash of Champions. Everybody. It was 17 million people that at the peak watched that show, that watched WCW Clash of Champions. 17 million people watched that show. And during the segment that Sting and Flair had, that Sting when Flair had jumped, and when they jumped him out of the Four Horsemen, they said that started off 11 million and it peaked at 16 million. No, 15 million. Peaked at 15 million. That was wrestling. That was wrestling. It got your blood pumping. It was something that stuck to you. It was like grits, man. Like us Southerners. Hey, it stuck to your ribs. Hey, wrestling, it will stick with your heart. Like you say, hey, like another thing, another thing that can stick with you, oatmeal. Which I know a lot of you Northerners or whatever will eat oatmeal. Some Southerners do too. But something that will stick, something that you can remember throughout the day, something that will give you that substance all day long, give you that juice. And when I'm talking about juice, hey, you need 100% juice, man. Orange juice is a great thing to have with your breakfast in the morning, or apple juice or whatever. But 100% juice, 100% juice, and that's what wrestling is missing right now. It's missing the basic elements, And as much as anybody, as much as we, like my partner, he'll go and say, well, Harry wants to watch the headlocks, wants to watch the full Nelsons and things like that. No, it's not that. I have no problem with Ricochet. I have no problem with Will Ospreay. I have no problem with Sammy Guevara or, let's see, the Young Bucks, Pac and Penta, or any of those guys, the way they wrestle today. I have no problem with that. I actually like it. I love it. I love the action pack. Love all the action because, hey, man, we had our Tiger Mask back in the day. Rey Mysterio back in the day, Mil Mascaras. We had those people that flew. Jimmy Superfly Snooker, Ricky Steamboat that would get up and doing the high flying moves and things like that. Love that. That was outstanding to see those type of wrestlers. It really was. But one thing about each and every one of those guys, man, they knew how to mat wrestle. They knew how to give us the basic elements of wrestling. The basic elements of wrestling is inside that ring, guys. and it's a one-on-one competition or a two-on-two competition, and the best man win. The best man win and get to walk out of the ring and walk to the dressing room and not expecting to be attacked every single week, time and time again. How can you designate somebody as a great wrestler, as somebody that's an outstanding wrestler, when you don't give that guy chance to, you don't give it a chance to materialize that guy is the champion, that guy is the winner. Man, like I said, I loved the tax back in the day. I love when people got attacked because it was something that you could talk about. But man, we hardly ever saw it. We hardly ever saw it. And when it happened, it was huge, guys. It was something you wanted to run out and tell everybody that there was an attack, that these guys are cheating, man. These guys are trying to hurt somebody so they can't they can't meet them at the next big show. And a big show could be a house show back then. Or because, like I say, we didn't have all these pay-per-views or whatever, closed circuit TV or whatever, that came with modern day wrestling. It could be, at your local, your local civic center or something like that. A big card coming to your hometown with your regional, your regional wrestling promotion, your territory, whatever that you was following. You had wrestlers, man, who would put hits out on guys. Harley Race put a hit out on Ric Flair to stop him. Ric Flair used to put hits out on wrestlers, man. I remember when Ric Flair was going up against his old friend, Blackjack Mulligan, Barry Windham's dad. Ric Flair put a hit out on him to try to stop him. Brought in Abdullah the Butcher and people like that, man. Dirty Dick Slater to try to slow him down. Ric Flair will put $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 bounties on these guys to try to stop them, man. Try to slow them down. That was great wrestling, man. That was great stuff. So even in those instances, man, even when those guys had a hit on them, a bounty on them, they didn't get jumped every week. They could have a bounty on them for 6 to 8 weeks and may get jumped 2 times. May get jumped 2 times. But you know what? We have wrestling promoters, man, not just in the WWE and AEW, but all the way down through the indies. We have wrestling promoters who think they can create something great by having anarchy. Just having anarchy all over the arenas all the time. They think that's what you pay your money to see or waste your time to see. That, hey, it's okay. These guys, they checking me out. These guys are coming to check us out. Oh, man, let's make it as crazy as we can. Let's make it as crazy as we can. Man, I've seen some very good wrestling in some indie promotions. Hey, one here in the upstate of South Carolina, and this was a couple years ago. Ran pretty decent shows, pretty good shows. These guys, man, running some decent shows and probably having, they ran every week. And it still does. The show still runs every week. It's a different name now, under a different name, but they ran every week. And they averaged anywhere from 80 to 130 people a show. They was trying to build up their audience, build up their crowd. They just got really crazy one week and it was attacks the whole night. Fans was just like, oh my gosh, fans were just stunned. They were stunned. And the fans they left there and seemed, you could just tell it was a big buzz in the place. Fans left there, seemed like the fans was happy and everything. And they come out and they talked to me and Chris, because me and Chris was podcasting. That night we was was podcasting and we was pretty much doing commentary with our old commentary partner Danny Paris. They come out, Harry, man, really talk about this Because, hey, man, we are trying our best to get this thing built up. I think the fans really love this, and we're going to keep this thing going. The next week, they did it again. Chaos City, hitting people, hitting everybody with everything outside of the lamppost that was outside of the, on the outside of the building. They brought in everything. Had the fans bring in doggone foreign objects. Just crazy. But let's say domestic objects. Just crazy. Did it for the next 2 weeks. The fan, 2-3 weeks, and the fans just started dwindling. It was more people came from, I think when they first did it, it was like 130 people, jumped up to like 170, 180 people. And then it stayed about the same the next week, and then it started going down. People are not going to stay around for just chaos, guys. And like I said, it's not just me saying this. All you have to do is look at the ratings. The ratings for the last 3 weeks are at a 1.4 million for Raw and SmackDown. People are not going to stay around for that, man, because there's nothing in it. There is nothing. That is nothing. When you have nothing but chaos, you have nothing. That's all it is to it. That's all it is to it. You have nothing if that's all you can give me. Now, if you can give me chaos and you give me great matches and you give me great storylines, then you got something. But if you just give me chaos and you give me 1 or 2 storylines and say, hey, this is it. This is what we're offering you. Why in the world should I stick around and watch you guys? Why should I waste my time? Why should I sit down? Because I'm telling you, it's a lot of hours, even though Raw has cut down 1 hour, to 2 hours right now. SmackDown 2 hours. You have NXT 2 hours. We used to do all of them. That was 6 hours right there just from WWE programming. AEW Dynamite 2 hours. AEW Rampage 1 hour. That's 9 hours. So we did all those. Now we haven't really done a lot of collisions, but we was doing those too. That's 10 hours. 1 more hour on, they're an hour. That's 10 hours. And then we did TNA on top of that sometimes. That's another hour. No, they go 2 hours. It's 12 hours. And Chris was even talking about doing, and I've done New Japan too. I've done New Japan during a week. And Chris, I remember when we first started, Chris wanted to do New Japan Pro Wrestling too. That's like 13 hours, man. 13 hours, anywhere from 13 hours on up. And then, and on top of that, we was doing 2 indie shows a week that went 2 to 3 hours. A lot of flipping time. A lot of flipping time. And I bought every single pay-per-view that AEW had. And some of these other pay-per-views that some of the other companies had. A lot of money. Lots of money. To see people flip and act the fool, man. Flippity dippity. Flip, dip, jump through tables, throw tacks all over the ring, slam people on tacks. Hey, it's even gotten to the point where they bringing hammers in the ring, guys. Hammers and screwdrivers and things like that. What kind of garbage is that? Man, have some class. That's not wrestling. What's going on, Reggie Maestro? My man Maestro is in the house. What's up, my brother? Maestro said, I thought I was the only one who felt like that. No, you're not. No, you're not, Reggie. And we're definitely not alone. All you got to do is look at the ratings, man. The ratings tell the story. Like I was telling Chris last night on the Monday night podcast that we did. Hey, the ratings tell the story. You can't beat facts, man. The ratings are a fact. Why in the world are people tuning out? Why are people tuning out like that? Why have SmackDown, and look, I know they was on free TV, but why have SmackDown lost 1.2 million viewers since they've been over on USA? 1.2 million. That's if you go from that 2.6, 2.7 peak. 1.2 million viewers, man. Why? Now, you got to look at it like, say, okay, some people don't have cable, but they shouldn't have lost that many. Not at all. And the people that really want to see wrestling, they're going to get out and see wrestling. I don't care if they got cable or not. They're going to get out and they're going to see it somewhere. Somewhere. They're going to see it, or somehow they're going to be able to see it. Wrestling was so strong back in the day. Back in the day, if Georgia Championship Wrestling, if my cable system. I remember we had Time. Let's see, we had Time, not Time Warner. I think it was Time Warner. We had Comcast. We had Charter. We've had different cable systems when I was growing up. If they didn't have Georgia Championship Wrestling, I live in the Mid-Atlantic area. I live in South Carolina. You know, we had South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia. We had the Mid-Atlantic Championship region, and we was getting Georgia Championship Wrestling because it's right down the road. A couple times, my cable system didn't say they weren't going to carry Georgia Championship Wrestling. We raised Cain. So many wrestling fans from this area raised Cain that we wanted Georgia Championship Wrestling because it was very close and similar to the wrestling that we was watching, but it was different. But it was just as good. They made sure that we got Georgia Championship Wrestling. Then we got Superstation, and everybody was getting Superstation. But they made sure that we was getting the local station to get Georgia Championship Wrestling. Florida Championship Wrestling, we started getting Florida Championship, FCW. We made sure we got that. If we wasn't getting it, we would go to our friends' houses who had those big, super giant satellites back then. We would go and see Mid-South Wrestling. If you really love wrestling, man, we did whatever it took to watch wrestling. It didn't matter if our favorite football team was playing, man. We'll just have to, we just asking everybody what was the score. And we'll have to see them the next week or whatever. But if there was a big wrestling thing that was going down, hey, guys, and it was coming to our town, we definitely went to it. Nothing stopped the wrestling fan back then. Nothing. Because you could not take a chance to miss what was going on with those storylines. They were so great. You didn't want to take a chance to miss any of that. So passionate, so excellent. And one thing about the storylines back then, you can miss wrestling. You can miss it. You can miss it. You can go to work. You can miss it and come back. You can walk into it and still pretty much catch up pretty quick on what was going on. And it made perfect sense. You could read the wrestling magazines and catch up with what was going on, even though the wrestling magazines was 2 and 3 months behind. Wrestling magazines carried on a lot of feuds, kept them going because it intrigued people around the country. But man, outstanding. And the reason that those storylines were so long was they were so great. They were so good. They were so good because look, Reggie, I'm pretty sure you are in the same boat as me. I'm sure Christine is in the same boat as me, and a lot of people who's listening right now in the same boat. We've all lost friends that you thought you was going to have forever. And you know how much that hurt, man. That's how it used to be back in the day when these wrestlers would break up. You know, that you'll have a wrestling tag team and somebody would turn on the other guy. It was unbelievable, man. And people just couldn't believe it. It's like, okay, you lost your best friend. It was like losing a brother when you saw another wrestler turn on another wrestler when those guys been together for a long time. Now, the faces especially, even the heels sometimes. Oh man, he turned on him. But you can have a heel tag team and a heel to turn or whatever on that guy, and that guy's it's the superstar who got turned on. Man, it was something special. It was so special. And that's the reason I believe these fans that's attached to wrestling now, they are longing for the days, guys. The fans that we have today, they are longing for the days of the John Cena era. They are longing for the days of the Attitude Era. You know, and then you look at the older guys, man, the older guys in my generation, Gen X. I'm talking about the guys that was, you know, born from 65 to 1980. And I'm talking about the guys in their mid-40s and guys in their mid-50s, like me, you know, guys in their mid-40s, mid-50s, and then the baby boomers days, because there's a lot of baby boomers that's still around in their 60s and early 70s that still are huge wrestling fans. We long for the days of the 70s, especially the 80s, the golden era. You know, back when WWE went on, you know, the WWF went to MTV and everything like that. Ric Flair and Nikita Koloff, the Russians and the Road Warriors and those guys, man, Rock and Roll Express, Lex Luger, man, Sting, Magnum TA, those guys were ruling, man. Dusty Rhodes, man, Harley Race, Terry Funk, those guys were ruling the NWA, Jack and Jerry Briscoe. We long for those days, man. Ole and Gene Anderson, the Midnight Express, the Rock and Roll Express. And hey, can't forget in the mid 70s, late 70s, early 80s, man. Hey, the Minnesota Wrecking Crew. And I'm not talking about no Ole and Arn Anderson. I'm talking about Ole and Gene Anderson. We all long for those days, guys. We want those days to come back. Who out there can give us that greatness? Who out there can give us those greatness? Now, the great storytellers and the great bookers, they all seem to have died off. They're all dying off. The last one, man, Dutch Mantell just got out of, just now got out of, I think ICU. He just now came home. But he's one of the last ones. I don't know if there's any more George Scotts, man. I don't know if there's any more Dusty Rhodes, any more Bill Watts. Bill Watts is still around, but he's not involved in wrestling. Let's see. Anymore. I don't know if there's another Jerry Jarrett out there, or Bill Dundee. These guys that was great bookers, man. Ernie the Cat Ladd. He was a great booker for Mid-South, for Bill Watts. Where are the great bookers, man? Where are people that's creative? A lot of it, you got to blame it on technology when it boils down to it. Because look, when I was growing up, I had 3 brothers. Now, I mean, we did a lot of things together, but I was one of these loner kids. A lot of times I used to like to be alone, even though I had a lot of friends. Very popular kid, all the way through school, everything, very popular. But I used to like to get alone to myself because I'm an artist, man. Musician, a guy who writes songs, a guy who writes stories, a guy who was always thinking, trying to invent things. You could put me. I'll stay in the house, man, and watch TV while all my brothers and everybody would go out and play sometimes. Sometimes I didn't want to go with my friends and play and walk around the neighborhood, because we walk for miles and do things, play football or whatever, play basketball. Totally different generation when I was growing up. Growing up in the 70s, as a kid in the 70s, in the 80s, I was a teenager. But man, look, in the 70s, you put me, I could go outside. I can go in the backyard, sit down under a tree, get me a rock, and give me a stick. Come up with all kind of creative stuff with that rock and that stick. Give me my army man. Give me my Cowboys and Indians. I got a wrestling organization right there. I'm wrestling with my army man and my Cowboys and Indians, coming up with all kind of things, coming up with names and things like that, coming up with my own wrestlers. Things that I like to do. That sense of creativity, it just seems like it's not there anymore in the United States. In the whole country, it's not there. Everything has been too easy for us, guys. And that's why in the NBA, you see these foreigners, which I have no problem with them, coming over. The best players in the NBA, they all from overseas, guys, who done came over here. The best boxers in the world now, they're from overseas. And you know why? Because when I was coming up, kids that I was coming up with, we would fight just to play. We was bored. We were getting fights, guys, fist fights. And you didn't see us going down for one punch like you see these kids going down today. When I was fighting as a teenager, we didn't go down for one punch, man. You can hardly knock anybody out with one punch. Kids was tough. These kids today in the United States, they go down with one punch. Hit them, boom, they gone. They gone. Because they're not outside, they're not being tough, they're not being creative. There's no creativity. Everybody talk about, our fighters from way back in the day. That's because Muhammad Ali, George Foreman, Joe Frazier, Sugar Ray Leonard, Marvelous Marvin Hagler, Tommy Hearns, those guys learned how to fight on the streets, guys. They did. I was a boxer. Learned how to fight on the streets before I was a boxer. So when I went into it, it was easy to transition. Man, so many things, man. Just so many things. It's crazy. But I appreciate everybody coming through, guys. Rocking with me tonight. Rocking with the Straight Up Wrestling Show tonight. Guys, if you like what you're hearing, you like this podcast, if you're on Facebook, you hit that like, share, join. If you here on YouTube, man, you hit that like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, ding, 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 so you know we're on like times like these. You do the same thing if you're over on Twitch, guys. I appreciate each and every one of you. And if you're over on Twitter, if you see us on X, formerly known as Twitter, hit that like, tweet, and retweet, and follow the Straight Up Wrestling Show over on Twitter, guys. But we're not live on that right now, but whenever we're over there, definitely go ahead and do that, man. But yeah, man, everybody just go ahead and share this thing. Hey, let me know what you think. And I appreciate you guys coming in, man, because there are people here listening to me go off and talk about wrestling. But yeah, I'm straight up. I'm just being straight up, man. Wrestling right now has no juice. Good night, Christine. Appreciate you coming in, Christine, saucy girl. All right, my man, Maestro Reggie Jackson says, yeah, the storylines are getting stale and wearing out. It's welcome. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. No doubt. Some pushes are being done at the wrong time. Yes. Yes. Big time. Big time. LA Knight, man. LA Knight should be a star that you see every week. LA Knight should be today's Magnum TA. Why is it? He should be today's Magnum TA. You put a title on him. You put a title on him. But one thing about it, just like you said, when they put a title on him, it was too late. It was too late when they put it on him. This guy was so popular 7-8 months ago. Did they make the jump then? No. 3 to 4 months ago, I say about 4 months ago, is when Jey Uso was at his highest peak. Jey Uso, you should have put the title on him back then at that time. When hey, that Yeet thing was at, man, like I say, it was at an incredible peak. So if you're gonna give the title to these guys, don't wait till everything's dying off. Triple H, man, you need to have a sense of discernment and say, wait a minute, these guys right now, this is why I can get them why they're hot. Even though I might not feel like they should have the championship right now, put the championship on them. Make it some way to where they get the championship. And the person that you take the title off of that you think should have the title, they should be the ones who gets into a feud with these guys. You have them feuding with these guys. Make it really hot, man. Make it something special. But hey, you wait too long. And then you put the title on LA Knight. Hey, the man really not being seen. And then you have him in Crown Jewel in a 3-way. Why? Have him in a one-on-one match, man. And every week you should have this guy here doing this thing. Every single week. You got Braun Breaker, who just now got the Intercontinental Championship back, and he's been on speed. You've been having this guy on speed, man. Come on now. It's crazy, man. Yeah, Maestro Reggie Jackson says, definitely know that feeling. We have heel turns in real life. Yes, sir. Yeah, good night, my friend. Christine says, I've been trying to join this conversation. Maestro Reggie Jackson said, okay. Reggie, man, I don't, hey, man, okay. Oh, I could have sent you a link. Sorry about that, Reggie. Sorry about that, man. But yeah, I definitely could have sent you a link. You still there? Are you still there? Let me send you a link, Reggie. I'm not going to be on too much longer. Let me see what time it is. All right, but I'm going to go ahead and send you a link, man. Let me go ahead and, go ahead and invite you. Give me just a second here. Go off screen. Just a minute. But go ahead and see if I can invite you, man. I don't know if I can do that. Oh, goodness sake. Wait a minute. Let me see if I can do that. Invite guests. All right, let me copy. All right, copied. All right, Reggie, give me just a second, man. Give me just a second. Let me see if I can put that in. Let's see. Wow, how in the world can I do this? Oh, don't look like I can do this. All right, Reggie, just stay there, man. Just stay there. Let me do it on my tablet, man, or whatever. But for some reason, I can't do it. I can't get you in for some reason. As much as I want to. Wow, if I was on my tablet, I could do it. But yeah, just give me a second. Oh, you said you're here. Just give me a minute, man. I'm trying to figure this thing out. But give me a minute, I'm going to go ahead and get you in, man. I'm going to go ahead and try to get you on in here. Let's see. Let me go off here for just a second. But give me a minute, and I will get you in. So you guys may hear a little static or something like that at first, but it'll be straightened out as soon as possible. But I want to get my man Reggie in here so he can join this conversation. All right. So Reggie, like I say, just stay there, brother. Just stay there. But yeah, this right here, man, like I said, I'm just just talking about wrestling, guys, and the lack of wrestling when it boils down to it. Right now, I guess you can just say it's exactly what Vince McMahon wanted.
Vince McMahon wanted a show.
Just a minute, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
All right, sorry about that, guys. God almighty.
Sorry about that, guys. Definitely sorry about that. But let me see if I can go ahead and get you in here, Reggie. Let me see if I can go and get you in here. But I'm gonna see if I can go ahead and send this thing to you. But yeah, just look out for it. But let me see if I can find you here on Facebook and on Facebook Messenger, and I'll send it to you here in just a moment. And we can go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and let you get in here on this conversation. Let me see, Reggie. Oh, my son, goodness sake, man, what in the world I just do? All right, Reggie, just now send it to you, man. So let me know. Yeah, I just now sent it to you, Reggie. So you should be able to get in, man. Should be able to get in. It's hard for me to do that because I wasn't on my. Right now, I'm just doing this on my phone. It's not on my laptop, so it's hard to kind of send that. So I had to go to my iPad to do that. But yeah, once again, like I said, I appreciate everybody coming in here and rocking with me on this late night podcast, guys. Talking about wrestling right now, and wrestling just don't have the juice, man. It doesn't have the juice needed. And hey, I'm just looking at where we go from here. I know a lot of people, there's people out here, man, that's good friends of mine who will sit there and tell you that Triple H is the guy who made them love wrestling, man. Triple H has made me love wrestling again. And, to me, that's hard to really say right now. It really is. Hey, Triple H, I do like Triple H. But then again, I'm looking at Triple H and saying, hey, man, what are you giving me? What are you giving me? Where's the substance? Because from what I've seen, outside of Cody Rhodes' run, and Triple H is not the one who orchestrated that. Vince McMahon started that, and Vince McMahon started this bloodline storyline. So what have Triple H given me that was special? What has he given us that was special? I haven't seen it yet, guys. I have not seen it. So give me a second, Reggie, and I'll have you in here. What in the world? Let's see. All right, but what in the world? All right, Reggie, what's going on? Reggie Maestro is in the house. What's up, man?
Nothing much. I've been listening.
Okay, that's cool. I'm glad you have, man. A lot of people been listening. I see that.
And when you said that wrestling lost its juice, I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna tell you when it really lost it. After
Right.
after WrestleMania 40.
Yeah.
After All
I agree.
In. After Bound for Glory. That's when these promotions, I don't know if they call themselves trying to rebirth stars, but that's not cutting the mustard.
No, it's not.
And LA Knight, they should have put that belt on him. Really, he should have been the one to have dethroned Roman Reigns. No offense to Cody.
Right.
And I'm like, I see where Triple H Achilles heel is.
Yeah. Well, one thing about, LA Knight was super hot at that time. Super hot.
And you just didn't even want to. I don't know what to call that.
Yeah. Well, look, he definitely could have did it. I mean, I think it's the right move to put it on Cody. I'm not going to blame Cody with which a lot of people. I'm not going to blame Cody because, like I said earlier, Cody, you have not given Cody the right. You have not given him the right lineup. He haven't had a chance to get the right lineup. You have got to give these guys the right opponents if you want to build something fantastic. You want to build something legendary and make a superstar. You want to make a champion a superstar. He's a superstar without it. But if you want to make him a legendary superstar, go down like one of the greats, go down like the Ric Flairs, the Harley Races, the Bruno Sammartinos, the Bob Backlunds. You want to make him, that type of superstar, the Jack Briscoes, the Terry Funks. You want to make him that type of superstar, then you got to give him the right lineup. But the one thing about LA Knight, he could have put the title on LA Knight, and LA Knight could have been defending that title, and then he could have ran up against Cody Rhodes, and it would have been extraordinary. It would have been extraordinary because the thing is, you could have made.
Think about it. Think about this. We have yet to see LA Knight versus Cody since he's been there.
Exactly.
And then I'm sitting back. I'm like, are they doing Cody like they did Roman? Just like a baby face? They just throwing these opponents until WrestleMania? Because if they trying to do that, it's not working.
Well, that's what it seemed like they're doing. But once again, like I said, man, it when it boils down to it, I don't put this on Cody. I can't put it on Cody. That's the thing about it. Right now, Cody is in the position of a quarterback, just like in NFL. He's in a position of a quarterback, and instead of looking at the quarterback, instead of looking at
that's what Randy Orton said. That's what Randy Orton said.
Yeah, instead of looking at that coach, and that coach of that team is Triple H. Everybody's looking at the quarterback, and everybody's saying, "Oh, you're the quarterback of the team, so hey, you should be the leader. You should." So, what's going on with that is everybody's looking at everything else that's around Cody. Everything else around Cody needs to be strong because if everything else,
I'm gonna say this too. I don't think they need The Rock.
No, they don't. Everybody, that's the thing about it. Rock will come in and he'll give it a little boost. And then, you're going to have people sit there just like my man Chris.
I'm going to be honest. I don't think he really helped.
Oh, he did. He didn't.
I don't think he helped that Roman storyline even before WrestleMania 40.
No, he did. Not at all. He didn't, man. He just came in and put a few more eyes on he put a few eyes on the set, and that was it. And
that was and you hit the nail on the head when you said a few eyes.
It was a few. It was not a whole bunch.
It wasn't tremendous.
Yeah, it was. He did not gravitate. He didn't get anybody. He did not put wrestling back in the mainstream. People in the general population didn't start watching wrestling again because of Roman Reigns. I made wrestling cool again. No, brother. All you did was bring in a few 100,000 more people that hadn't been watching it for a long time, or maybe was over there watching AEW or whatever. That's all he did.
You said 100,000. Do you want to know the exact number?
What was the exact number?
The exact number was 52,493.
Oh gosh! Wow. So he really didn't do nothing, man. He didn't.
He didn't do nothing. Like I told my friends, I was like, dude, The Rock is like nostalgia. The Rock is like the cassette tape.
Yeah, exactly. Hey man, look. If you,
I'm sorry. A lot of people got mad when I said that, but then when I broke it down,
yeah, man.
I'm like, when you talk about The Rock, what do you talk about? The past, right?
Exactly.
When you talk about a cassette tape, all you can bring up is what? The past.
The past. That's right, man. You got to the time that they spent on him and trying to insert him in the storyline, they could have used on somebody else that would have even made it greater. I mean, you know who they could have used on that? Who was that?
Braun Breaker.
Exactly.
Braun Breaker.
Yes, sir.
Y'all saying he's the breakout star, but why didn't y'all break him out and put him in that main event and made it a triple threat?
No doubt.
You want to see how good he really is? Put him in the pit with the dogs to see if he can adapt.
Yeah, exactly.
Like they used to back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Now they don't. Is it that Triple H is scared of that? And is it me, or are they just adding? Are they trying to add belts like AEW now?
Man, that's what they're doing. Like, last night, me and Chris had this big thing, man, about let's
So,
see.
so you
Let's see.
saw the woman's. So you saw the woman's Intercontinental belt.
Championship. Yeah, you talking about that, and one guy
Oh no,
asked,
they didn't show it on Raw, but it's been unveiled.
yeah, it's already been unveiled. I already seen that. And the guy said, "What you think about the Intercontinental Championship, Women's Intercontinental Championship?" And I said, "Hey, that they should not. Until they can figure out what they're gonna do with what they have now, they don't need to be adding any more titles." Chris
No,
like, "Yeah, man, I think it'd be a great thing." No, it's not gonna be a
no,
great
no.
thing. They can't even
It's
figure
it's
out
just
what.
it's just gonna cripple them more.
Yeah, they can't even figure out what they're doing with the women's championship right now.
And the women's roster in WWE, let's call it what it is. They're a bunch of chickens with their heads cut off because they don't
Yeah,
got Becky Lynch, Charlotte.
that's
They ain't got they
100%
don't have
true.
they don't have their go-to stars to put them straps on.
That's right.
So now you
Right.
got these. Let's put the belt on Nia Jax. Not talking bad about Nia Jax now. Nia Jax actually is really showing that she got some mic skills.
Yeah. Yes, she is. I will say that.
But Tiffany Stratton, man, if y'all don't make her cash that thing in, y'all basically gonna do her like y'all did R-Truth.
Right.
Really, she is a female R-Truth. She's just the heel version.
I agree with you, man. I agree 100%. I agree 100%.
And I'm like, we don't even know what if these pushes that they giving these wrestlers now is a outcome of what WrestleMania 41 is gonna be. Won't be watching that.
Man, it's right now it's trending. It's trending all in the wrong direction. Straight up. It's not good.
Won't be watching that. And the crazy part is I got my tickets already, but then I'm thinking like, and I never say that about WrestleMania, but
yeah, man, it's a scary thing. It really is. All right, man. I need to do something real quick. No, I'll just do that later.
And then they like Goldberg gonna have his final match.
If you could do me a favor, Reggie, see if you could share this to the Straight Up Wrestling Show, because I can't do it from my tablet because I got another page up here on my Facebook page because I can't share it. See if you can share that over to the Straight Up Wrestling Show on Facebook if you don't mind. Definitely share that because I have not shared it yet. But man, that is just flat crazy. But yeah, wrestling right now, I just don't know where it goes. I don't know where it goes from here. And the Motor City Machine Guns.
Oh, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. I'm not even gonna talk about that. Is it me? Or even when they got there, that pop was terrible.
It was.
It sounded like piped in crowd noise, like they had a digital file and they just hit the button.
Yeah.
And then you put the strap on them and they haven't even had 5 matches.
I know. I'm looking at that. And I'm just like, what in the world are they doing? Now, if you guys want
somebody been to the dispensary, that's what it was.
Yeah. If you want to excite us about the Motor City Machine Guns. Now they sitting there, they're talking about the Motor City Machine Guns before they got there. They talked about them for a few weeks before they got there, and and people getting all excited about them and everything. And the last time they was in the WWE, the Motor City Machine Guns, when it was in NXT. Now
and that didn't last.
No, it didn't last. Now they have been working in TNA, and TNA has been, had a little working relationship lately with the WWE. Now, if you wanted to excite us about them, hey, go old school, do something a little different. Hey, show us some film. Hey, show some film on WWE. Show on Raw or show on SmackDown a little bit of film of the Motor City Machine Guns and have them take a little montage of their matches and the most exciting part.
And the matches from TNA, of course, you're gonna say credit to TNA.
And show that these guys are coming. You know, within a few weeks, we're gonna see these guys coming. So you got us all excited and everything. Then next thing you know, you bring these guys in, and you don't put them in there against some great tag team. You put them in there against, you know, Herberto and Garza or somebody like that. Then you have them the next week take on another tag team that really ain't all that. And then the third week you put them in there against somebody that's really good, like the Street Profits. They upset the Street Profits, and then the next week you have them up against another good tag team. Then like the fifth or sixth week, then then you put the straps on them. Then everybody's all excited. Everybody's done got into these guys. You know, you done built these guys up, and man, you have something special. You know, just like the NWA did, the Rock and Roll Express. Man, you know, hey, we saw them a few weeks before they were showing that they were showing that what they was doing over in Memphis.
Let them build some wins. Let them build some wins.
Yeah, exactly.
Let them build some wins.
Yeah, they got up there, man.
And then did you see that interview with Montez Ford where he was actually like saying that he was really frustrated, like,
oh yeah,
he was talking about that. He was talking about that, like, how you gonna let a tag team that haven't even had at least 10 matches, y'all put the straps on them? We've been here for years.
Oh, exactly.
And we haven't even had a good championship run with them.
No, they haven't, man. No, they haven't. If you know, I think they had one or two, and it was unforgettable. They're unforgettable.
But what did Triple A say? I don't see color. I just see talent.
Yeah. I don't know about all that.
That was the wrong thing to say at a press conference, because that's on YouTube.
Yep.
If you're not gonna delete it, at least edit that.
That's true.
So you can say face.
That's right.
Because right now your face got a lot of brown on it. You see how I said that without even saying the word? Your face got a lot of brown on it.
Yeah, that's true.
And what you gonna do? What you gonna do? Because it's out there. So now any wrestler of color, if they were really interested in coming to your promotion, if they went and saw that, they'll probably go to NWA or Reality of Wrestling, or they'll go to an indie spot before they come to you. Just off of that, you shouldn't have said that. You should have just said no comment and kept it going.
Yeah, look, man. I mean, best thing to do is not even say anything. And you know, my thing with Triple H, I don't think it has anything to do with racism, as he, you know, it's him, the way he feels about black wrestlers or whatever. I just don't think he knows how to take them serious, man. Because look, you had one of the most serious black men in, you know, that I've ever seen wrestle in the company, who's a superstar. If you book him right, he's a superstar. Bobby Lashley.
Oh yeah, don't get me started on that either.
Man, he let Bobby Lashley walk, man. What kind of garbage is that? Oh, I just don't have
not even that. And then you go to AEW.
Exactly.
And that was so, I don't want to say terrible, even though it was, but it was trash.
Yeah.
It was trash. And then you come in there with that tight. I don't even know what type of suit that was.
Man, that suit was awful. And the way that they brought him in, Tony Khan, I'm just like, come on, man. Come on. Man. Now look, Bobby Lashley, MVP, all these guys.
And really, they should have been punished. No offense. If they was coming to my promotion, after I'd heard what you said, and you saying this about Triple H, and you saying this before you come to my promotion, oh, I'm punishing you. Like,
Right.
no, you're not getting there no belts for at least 6 months
Exactly.
because y'all said something that really crossed the line.
That's true, man. That's true.
And then you trying to save face and say, I'm not saying that Triple H is racist. Yeah, MVP. I saw that. I saw what you said on X before you deleted it.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm not
man.
saying he racist yet, but at the same time, you just did. Ain't no
Well, that's
take
true.
backs from that.
That's true.
Even Bobby Lashley tried to so-called say it.
Yeah, yeah, pretty
And
much.
there's no take backs from that.
Yeah, that's true. No ends as buts about that, man. And one thing is this. I mean, if you're gonna up and leave a promotion, hey, just up and leave the promotion. Don't even worry about as far as they shouldn't even had to say that. Just go off to the other promotion, start off fresh. Because when you leave, you bring in, like I said, you bringing that stain over to your new promotion. You really are. So
You
it's
bringing that
basically saying,
baggage over, yeah?
yeah, you bring that baggage and saying, okay, if you guys don't immediately put the titles on us or put the titles on, hey, we're gonna say you did the same thing to us that they was doing over there. So you definitely don't want to have that out in the industry. Anything, man, that's
Well, they might as well get
anything that,
ready and say that.
yeah,
They
put
might
that
as well
stuff.
get ready and say that because I'm
Yeah,
gonna be honest. I don't even see that new version of the Hurt business even going anywhere.
the Hurt Syndicate. Look, man, I don't know what they're gonna get out of that. I really
Th-
don't, to tell you the truth, because Tony Khan, I just don't trust his booking. I don't trust his
I'm
booking,
I,
man,
I'm a,
to
I'm a,
make that thing anything
the
special. Now,
the
from
way
what I'm
they
hearing
came
is,
out, the way they came out was so like main event mafia.
yeah, I did not like that. And I told Chris, I said, look, man, I said, these guys are coming out in suits and everything. They look like that, they're coming out in a like they have class. So what they should have done is you should have had MVP come out there and Bobby Lashley come out and told Bobby Lashley should have went in that ring and he should have asked Swerve Strickland, are you sure? Are you sure that you don't want to rescind that that answer that you gave the MVP? You sure that you don't want to join up with us? Give him an offer that he can't refuse. You understand what I'm saying?
Give them an ultimatum, or
Exactly.
or or not. Basically, paint a Swerve.
Yeah, exactly.
Not
Instead
to be
of
using his name, but
yeah, instead of
paint a Swerve.
right, went straight to a beatdown. Straight to a beatdown, man. I'm like, you could have built a story off of that, and you could have had people very intrigued that okay, we're gonna give you some time, brother. We're gonna give you some time to make a decision on if you wanna change that answer that you gave MVP a couple weeks ago. But no, you
That
went straight to just beating him up. And like I said, look, when I say wrestling done lost its juice, hey, you didn't
and
have no
and and
juice. There was no
now
substance back there.
and
Uh,
and now they got a match at Full Gear
yeah, they got a match at Full Gear,
with
which they shouldn't even have a match
at
like that,
all.
where Bobby just overskipped everybody else and went straight
Did
to the top to fight this guy.
now
And he
now
was their world
now
champion a couple months ago. He went straight to
now
the top to fight him.
now doesn't that feel like what WWE did at the beginning of the year
Yeah,
with Roman Reigns and The Rock?
yeah, same thing.
So who copying who?
Well, they
It's
definitely
it's just
copying WWE.
it, it it's just so happened that they're using blacks.
Well, yeah, they are.
and
Yeah, they
and
are,
pe-
man. But like I
people
say,
like,
when
man,
it
I
boils down
can't
to
I
it,
I can't talk to you when it comes to talking about wrestling because then you just break it down. I'm like, no, I'm letting you see what they're doing.
yeah. Well, man, look, it when it boils down to it, it doesn't matter who they use or whatever. It does not matter at all. It's
Just give
just
us good, compelling storytelling.
yeah,
And if
give us
it's
good
not good,
storytelling. Give
if
us
it
what
if it's not
give us
good, listen to the crowd, listen to the
yeah,
people, because we're gonna tell you if
yeah.
it's good or if it's terrible.
Yeah, man. Look, just give us what we want, man, as the consumer. as a consumer, we want that real deal, man. We want that real deal. We want what brought us to the table in the first place.
And they not giving it to us.
Exactly, man. You know,
It's
hey,
like, why are we sitting here watching this? Now
I'm asking,
I bet any amount of money the true wrestling fan, if they get to the point they like, dude, I'm not watching this. I'm straight.
yeah, exactly. I'm asking you for I'm asking you for juice, brother, and you giving me something you giving me prune juice instead of giving me orange juice. You know, and when I say prune juice, you know what I'm talking about, because
right.
Once you drink it, like
you say, you already know where it's going.
Exactly, exactly. So, man, I'm like, hey, man, I'm tired of it. I shouldn't be bored. I should be waiting for the next show.
I don't even
like
watch Raw.
Waiting for the next show, man. I just can't wait to see what's going to happen next week.
I didn't even watch Raw because I was like, WWE. I know I did. I know I did it. That's why I didn't watch it.
Oh yeah.
Because when I saw the matches that were done, I was like, I ain't missing nothing.
Yeah.
Even with SmackDown, because people like, you gonna watch SmackDown? No, because if Raw was like what I predicted that it was gonna be, SmackDown gonna be the same way.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Like, I watch NXT because NXT, at least, like, I'm gonna get something exciting out of it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. NXT usually they bring it, man. They bring it. But
they need to put that energy on the main roster.
Exactly. But
don't do it with the developmental.
Yeah, I don't know what Triple H is doing. I really don't.
Is it Triple H or is it TKO?
Now that's one thing I was telling Chris. I told Chris, I don't know how many times, I said, look, man, I think TKO Holdings, I think they got this guy. I think they got a vice grip on this dude, man. I really do.
Think about it. The reason why, I know you heard about the reason why Becky Lynch ain't there, right?
I haven't heard. Why is that?
She wanted bigger pay. She did.
Yes, she did.
She wanted, I think it was like $2 million.
She wanted you. I thought it was more than that.
No. It was somewhere like around, because Roman was getting like what, 15?
Roman gets
he probably get 12. Now. She wanted like at least 3 million more than that, and they was like, no.
Yeah. I think she asked. I think she was asking 5.3 million.
Like that. And they said no.
Yeah. They paid Roman 12.1 million. They paying CM Punk 8.3 million.
Yeah.
CM Punk,
and he hasn't been on there since the Hell in a Cell match.
He won't be on there. I was very afraid about this guy when he wrestled that match against Drew McIntyre. That I'm like, why in the world are you putting this dude who is injury prone in a match like that against a guy who's that big, to drag him all around the ring? Is he gonna stay healthy? Well, obviously he did.
So CM Punk is injured too.
Yeah, he's injured.
Oh my God.
Making 8.3 million a year. That's what they signed him for 3 years. They invested that kind of money into him. That was TKO Holdings, man. That was TKO Holdings.
I thought when he was like, I'm taking the hiatus, I thought it was because of the Crown Jewel situation.
No, man. Heck no, man. It's because he injured himself. Talking about he might not be able to get back in the ring again. And look, I hope they didn't sign a guaranteed deal with this dude. My thing was,
what?
I said, look.
But see, he did what Ric Flair said wrestlers should not do.
Took all that time off.
And when you do that, and you try to get back into this craft, your body is going to tell on you.
Yeah, it failed him. Look, man, I'm like,
when we seen him at AEW, I knew then.
He kept getting hurt there, man. Look, I said, look, this guy, I just do not trust. I do not trust his fitness. I don't think his body can hold up. He has a Tiger Woods type body, even though Tiger came back and won the Masters. But Tiger, Tiger kept getting hurt. And I'm just like, this dude, his body's not going to hold up. And look,
and you see what Tiger doing now? Tiger just chilling. He not even playing no more.
That guy sick. I would have gave him. Actually, I think when it started off, I told Chris, I said I would have gave him 3 months and an option, man. I said
I'd have gave him a year.
I gave him 3 months. I would have signed him for 3 months and said, look, if you make it past this 3 months, we'll sign you for another 3 months. We'll sign you a 6-month deal. Then if you make it after that, then we'll sign you 2 months, and then we'll sign you to 3 years. But I would have gave myself an option out. I was like, look, you got to work hard. You got to work for this money. We're not just going to give it to you. But WWE, they gave it to him. That was TKO Holdings that did that, man. Endeavor, TKO Holdings.
Now, here's my thing, right? You see how they released Baron Corbin.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
And Indy Hartwell and Tegan Knox. And I'm like, okay, well, Tegan Knox, I kind of saw the writing on the wall with that one.
Yeah.
But Indy Hartwell, really?
Indy is pretty darn good. So I'm just like,
she was just breaking through her shell.
Exactly. And as far as Baron Corbin got talent, but hey,
they keep putting them with the wrong people.
Exactly. And they don't, they can't figure out what to do with him. That's one thing that
because when he was with JBL,
yeah,
you could see it.
Oh, you definitely
could see it.
And I'm like, it gets on my nerve that people just do not, when they miss the point, there's somebody out there that's fantastic, that's awesome or whatever, and the bad booking makes them look bad.
Can we air another person in that position right now?
Who is
that? The final testament.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, dude, Karrion, they are doing you so dirty, bro.
Man, they messed Karrion up. What's the name? Vince messed Karrion up from the jump.
They doing him so terrible. Man, and then they got you in this storyline with the Wyatt Six. Now, if they was gonna do a War Games, they should have did it with them two. Not with the bloodline. Not with the bloodline. They should have did the War Games with the Wyatt Six and the Final Testament.
Yeah.
I can see that being something spectacular.
Well, that's what a lot of people wanted, man. But to tell you the truth, I mean, I don't really care. I like that. I like Karrion Kross. As far as AOP, I really don't care for that. And the reason
I don't know why they brought them back. Like,
yeah, the reason to me, they hold him back. They don't make him look good at all. they just don't.
You know who they should have had in that? Not AOP. I think the Street Profits would have made a better
tandem with him. Yeah.
Because they was already healed.
Yeah.
You could have just put them with Karrion Kross.
Yeah, that would have been good. That definitely would have been good. But yeah, as far as but that's the thing about it is, man, look, Triple H, man, his mind don't work like that. He's not gonna put black wrestlers with a guy like that, man. He's just not.
Yeah, you're right.
He could have put Paul Ellering. He could have put Paul Ellering with Street Profits, and it would have been something special. Yeah.
But
you like to say, hey, Triple H, no, that is not even in the cards for him. He ain't gonna think like that.
Once again, you got to go back to what he said. I don't see color. I just see talent.
Yeah. Well, man, look, gosh, man, I don't know. Like I said, that's one thing I don't even want to go at. I don't really want to go that way.
Like this conversation is a conversation that like we could do like a part 2 on, because this is so much that's being done behind the scenes, not just in WWE, but in all these promotions.
Oh yeah. AEW, TNA, all of them. But like I said, man, all the way down to the indies, from what I've seen, and me and Chris, man, we done been to so many different 19. We up to 20 promotions, man. 21 promotions that we've worked with out here on the indie scene, and all of them, they follow what AEW does. I mean, not AEW, but WWE does. WWE,
they need to stop that.
WWE is the forebearer, man. Everybody look and see what they're doing, and when they're not doing it right, nobody else does it right either, and it's sad. So
somebody need to cut. Somebody need to come and just do something different, something that 100%. WWE would never do.
Totally 100% different from the WWE. And
because if you're gonna follow WWE, you following yourself to a dumpster.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man.
And now, if you really look at it, and Vince is gone, you can't say it's Vince.
No, it's not Vince. That's the thing. But nobody wants to put that. They don't want to put it on Triple H. They don't. Everybody wants to say
putting it on him.
They want to say Triple H is a genius, man. They do. People want to say he's a genius because hey, they got rid of the guy who hurt them for so long. And that's what it is. It's just that these a lot of wrestling fans, they just felt hurt by Vince because
can I say it? Can I say it though?
What's that?
Triple H is another Vince. They just don't see it.
Exactly. What turned fans against Vince McMahon? And I told Chris, I said, look, Chris, it's not that he was he's not as bad as you think he is. It's just that Vince McMahon have not had competition. He didn't have competition for 20 years before he handed this thing over to Triple H. For 20 years, basically, because you can't say that little small run that TNA had was competition. That wasn't competition.
No, that wasn't competition at all.
The man had no competition. So for
WCW was their competition.
That
was competition.
Yeah, and Jim Crockett Promotions, NWA before that was competition.
That was competition.
Exactly. But this thing that this TNA, whatever, that wasn't competition. In the indies, of course, no competition. So he haven't had competition for 20 years. And I said, and all these different wrestlers came through. So Vince was he was given the job of trying to make all these wrestlers special, make them something, make them appealing to the wrestling crowd, to the wrestling community. And when he did that, while he was doing that, like, you would have somebody that would come up and they would be very popular or whatever, but there's other wrestlers coming up right after him, year in and year out. And then those wrestlers take those other wrestlers' place. You got to try to please those wrestlers too. So when they saw that their wrestlers were getting hurt, their wrestlers looked like they was on a run or whatever, and then some other wrestler came up and took their place, these fans was getting upset with Vince. They was just getting pissed off with Vince. But the whole thing about it is Vince was trying to he was trying to write for so many different wrestlers when you didn't have to do that back in the day, because what did we have back in the day that we don't have, that Vince didn't have for 20 years? Territories.
Yeah, that too.
Competition, territories, regional territories. These wrestlers had so many different areas that they can go to and be stars. Roddy Piper was a star over in Portland, over in the Oregon area, Portland, Oregon, and stuff like that. Ric Flair ruled the Carolinas, the Carolinas and Virginia. Over in Georgia, you had Mr. Wrestling too. Junkyard Dog down in Louisiana, man, Mid-South area. Memphis, Jerry Lawler. All these guys had the area. Nick Botwinkle over in the AWA. Bruno Sammartino and Bob Backlund and superstar Billy Graham ruled the Northeast, man, up there with the WWF. So everybody had their little. You could go so many different places and become a superstar. The Freebirds out in world class. So you didn't have that no more. So Vince was taking on all these superstars, all these guys that was coming in, and he would build them up. And then next thing you know, hey, you build up a guy, you got a guy for 6-8 months, and he's a superstar. Next thing you know, you got 3 other superstars coming through the door. And then this other guy, you take him down, and he's nothing no more. And fans, you know, they done invested their time into this guy. We love this guy. Vince done did him wrong. All the vitriol goes to him. But he's trying to, you know, he's became a victim when it boils down to it. Vince became a victim of his success. He became a victim of the monster that he created. He created this gigantic wrestling company that only had so many spots. So many spots. And these guys had no other place to go. He couldn't be like Jim Crockett, where, you know, Jim Crockett gets Ivan Koloff and and Jim Crockett say, well, Ivan right now is not working for you. I'm gonna send you up there. I'm gonna get on the phone. I'm gonna call Mike Graham. You need to go up there to Florida and you wrestle, go up there and wrestle with Dusty Rhodes and Ernie the Cat Ladd and all that, and see if you can get over there. And that's what happened. That's the way they used to do. That's the way these guys used to do. They would send these guys to different regions of the country if they wasn't really getting over in the part of the country that they was in. It was great, man. It was outstanding. But wrestling, it won't go back to that, even though the NWA wanted to do that. But you can have other organizations come up. Maybe I think you have room enough for 2 more, but that way you won't have the business of like a WWE be so saturated to where, you know, people that's booking, they don't know how to book these, stars, man, book their wrestlers or whatever. Because back then during the regional promotion, the regional territory days, is you had a lot of jobbers, man, that became superstars. You would be a superstar just by getting beat up every week. You became a superstar. Everybody knew who you was. It was crazy.
Yeah,
but that was wrestling. That's what made wrestling great.
and it's just like, and I was telling this to my friend. I was like, wrestling, like true wrestling, is like how marching band was back in the 80s, 90s. Like,
yes.
you would never get that ever again.
Mm-mm.
And I hate to say it, but that's why we go back and watch the Smoky Mountain Wrestling, the NWA, the old school WWF, or the WWF.
Yeah.
The old Japan, New Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Like people like, dang, I'm like, I'm a pro wrestling fan.
Yeah. Yes.
There's a difference.
No
Y'all
doubt.
talking about y'all watch WWE. Congratulations. Yay. You watch WWE. I'm gonna need y'all to go back and watch some old Japan. Go back and watch like when Chris Benoit and Brock Lesnar was with New Japan.
Yeah.
And then look at them when they came to W. It's a whole they're a whole different monster. Like everything that they were doing with the other promotions, they could not do that in WWE.
Everybody that used to go and take a tour in Japan back in the day, they would go to New Japan, they would go to All Japan, Giant Baba's All Japan, or Antonio Inoki's New Japan. They would come back and they'd be a totally different wrestler. Learn a whole bunch of new different moves and everything. They would do so many different things. It was incredible, man. It definitely was incredible.
And that's what I liked when a wrestler left the promotion and they went somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
And if they got that opportunity to come back,
right?
They came back with the move sets that they learned from the other promotion, and brought it to WWF. Well, now WWE.
Right.
That's why I sit back and be like, man, this ain't the same wrestler I remember back from NWA. This ain't the same wrestler I remember from TNA. Like a lot of people don't even know that LA Knight was Eli Drake.
Oh, is that? Yeah. They don't.
And when he was Eli Drake, that was a whole different person compared to LA Knight.
Yeah, that's true. And man, What you think about this WWE ID thing too?
I was about to ask you about that.
Man,
I feel like
yeah,
that's their way sort of kind of like signing a wrestler without saying we signing you.
exactly. Well, son, you look going into the indies and just locking guys up. They're locking. They going in and they are pretty much stamping, putting their stamp of approval on the
Mm-hmm.
best schools and stamping the best wrestlers out here on the indie scene. So
And
basically,
and
in
and the
telling
one and the ones that they don't have a stamp on, those are ones that's gonna go like to AEW or
is
NWA.
exactly, exactly. But what it boils down to it, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt all the wrestling, man, because what they're doing is you taking these guys at these different schools because a lot of these guys on the indies they get to bounce around to all the different indies. But if
But
they
it
sign, say, even if
but
they sign
isn't
a guy,
that
say we're gonna give you
but,
$35,000. Okay, you wrestle for the School of Morton. Well, the School of Morton haven't got a WWE ID, but I'm sure they'll get it because they're one of the best in the country. But you got Booker T School and you got Cody Rhodes School up in Atlanta. They both got a WWE ID. You sign these guys and say, okay, I'm gonna give you $35, but you can't go wrestle for anybody else because you know if they wrestle for the WWE, WWE wants
mm-hmm.
you trained in one way. They don't want you going wrestle for anybody else and doing all that other stuff because they're gonna look at you. Hey, you might catch bad habits and things like that. We want you to, we signed you, and so you gotta when you wrestle for Cody Rhodes School, you wrestle for Booker T School because they hold cards or whatever. So they're not getting out to these other indies and getting to develop a personality. They just going through the WWE way. And Cody and Booker T is going to train them the way the WWE does. And hopefully these guys are hoping that they can get up to NXT or whatever, go through the factory there and then get on to the main roster. That's what they're hoping. But you got a lot of kids out here, man, who me and Chris work with and know, they all got pumped up about it. And then everybody started talking about it. Like, this sounds like a monopoly, man. That's what they're trying to
Oh, it
run. And
is. It
yeah,
is.
I'm pretty
It
sure it's
is.
TKO
It don't.
Holdings, man. TKO Holdings said,
I
hey,
was gonna say that. I was gonna say that.
yeah,
I was like, dude, that's not because think about it. UFC got the same type of thing going on too.
exactly. Because I told Chris, I said, look, man, I said, think about it. I said, we have these shows. I said, most shows out here on the indie scene, $10, $15. $15 for ringside, $10 for general admission. And then you have some of them that's even up to $20, $25. Most of them $10 or $15 for indie card. I say, but you have the average indie card is the average is anywhere from 150 to 450 people, that go to these indie shows. Some of them, some of the bigger ones have 600 to 750 people go. I say, but think about this, Chris. How many different indies in our scene of, where we live in Greenville, South Carolina, upstate South Carolina, how many indie shows we have running on a Saturday night or Friday night? And Chris,
I was told that it's a school in I think it's either in South Carolina or North Carolina. It might be both.
mm-hmm.
That has a WWE ID too.
Yeah, we got a school here. I can't think of which name of it, which one it is, but we do got a school here, and we got one up in Tennessee, School of Morton. We got one here too that has a school that it's a real good one. It's real popular. If Chris was on here, he could tell you. I can't think of the name of it, but yeah, I said, look, Chris, think about it. I said we have anywhere from 4 to 7 shows on a Friday night within a 50 to 80 mile radius. Like 7, 8 shows within a 50 to 80 mile radius where every time SmackDown comes to Greenville. I said, think about it.
Mm-hmm.
I said, when these jokers go to these, and I said, think of each card. I say each one of them get 100 to 200 people. If you got 8 cards and they got like 200 people going, that's 1,600 people. That's 1,600 people that could be going to a SmackDown. That's why
Yeah.
they did this ID thing, is because these wrestlers can't go out here and they can't hold these cards. They ID in these schools. It shuts down these indies to where they can hold cards to where, instead of these guys going out here, instead of the people spending their money on that, they want to see live professional wrestling, which a lot of people want to do. If you're a professional wrestling fan, you eventually want to see live wrestling. So when the WWE comes through, instead of them spending their $10, $15 on that indie show, you can get at least 20 to 30% of those people to come over. Even if they get 20 to 30%, is going to be, instead of that 1,600 that was going to the indie shows, they can get 320, maybe 400 people out of that to come over and watch SmackDown. And with those astronomical prices that they're charging, man,
yeah,
they don't pay for that schooling, that school that they done brought there, or that little indie wrestler they signed or whatever. So it's all worth it. And I said, plus if you shut down those indies, those that 14 to 1,600 people that's out there watching that indie show, they can be at home watching TV, watching that WWE show on USA or wherever else they're gonna be on, and that right there shows up in the ratings, and that right there increases their money with the advertisers and everything. I'm like, it's a big monopoly,
and I think that WWE ID is kind of like they backup idea for that failure of the WWE Europe or the WWE Japan.
Oh yeah. No doubt.
I think this was their way of saving face.
Well, true.
But
yeah,
it still reeks of TKO though.
Yeah, it does, man. Well, TKO Holdings, like I say, they want everything. It's a holding company. And like I told Chris, holding company, all they want is money. That's all they look for is to put money on the bottom line for their shareholders. That's what holding company does. And I think they're getting ready
to add something else to that.
Oh wow.
TKO getting ready to add something else to that.
Yeah.
Other than WWE and UFC, is something else that I'm gonna look into it. But I know they were talking about adding something else to that.
Yeah, I'm not shocked. And
I'm like, if they do that, then you already know what they're doing. They're just taking these companies and they're just gonna ring them and see how much money that they can get out of them.
Well, that's what they do. And I told Chris, I said, look, and if you don't make it, all they do is break you up. A holding company will break you up and sell you off to the highest bidder. That's what they do.
Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised if WWE be the first one that they break off.
Exactly. They don't care about nothing except for, like I said, the stockholders and their shareholders.
It looked good in their portfolio that they have WWE. But
yeah, it does. Yeah, it does.
The minute it starts to sink, and like I told my friend, wait till about after WrestleMania next year, because that's when you really gonna see it. Because they're not gonna have a John Cena, they're not gonna have a Rock, because even though Rock is on the board, but you can't keep going back to him to save. And that's what they're doing. And really that's what they was doing before. They would always go back to the legends. And
you know what? Rock really don't have no power. That's what I'm trying to tell people. He really
he don't.
He has such a small percentage of shares.
I think his position came from Vince leaving.
Oh, it did. And because he was a wrestler. And those guys from TKO, they don't know anything about wrestling. All they know is numbers. And those guys are looking at numbers, and I think they probably all up Triple H's hiney, man. They are right on him. They are on him all the time saying, things don't look like it's going good. You need to come up with something fast, man. What can you do to get the fans excited again? So I don't even know if this guy even have time when it boils down to it to come up with a good storyline, man. He probably,
except for that bloodline thing, and
exactly.
I think that bloodline thing, I don't even think it's like Vince and Triple H storyline no more. I feel like that's TKO trying to milk it.
Wow, man. Yeah. Wow.
Because I'm like, dude, we done had this storyline. This is going on 5 years now, dude.
It's been going on for a long time. And look,
what else can you do with it? What else can you do with it?
Man, unless it's Ricky Steamboat against Ric Flair.
Right. Oh no, that oh my God. No,
Yeah,
and I'm sorry, this bloodline thing is definitely not that.
it's not that. Exactly. Unless you go have some, you go have some legendary people like that, man, you ain't got nothing. Nobody, you just can't have a storyline from any of these competitors today. Have a storyline like that, man. It's been going on way too long. But Reggie, I'm definitely gonna get out of here, man. I got to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. It's 1 o'clock here.
Yeah, I just
Yeah,
saw that too.
yeah. So I'm definitely gonna get off this year because I got to get up at 6 in the morning, man. But it's been a great talk. But yeah, we'll have a part 2 to this, man. We definitely have a part 2 to this.
And hopefully Chris can be a part of it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I definitely want Chris to be a part of it. Straight up, man. But yeah, we have a lot to talk about it, man. But I appreciate you coming on. But everybody, man, appreciate you guys coming on. Before you get off here, man, hey, if you're not a part of the Straight Up Wrestling Show, hey, you're missing out. So go ahead and hit that like, share, join, whatever platform you're on. But I'm out of here, guys. See you later with my man, Maestro Reggie Jackson. I appreciate him coming in and rocking with me tonight. But we'll see you guys later on. Stay straight up. Peace.
Straight up. Peace.